Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about what I wish I would have known before attending a PWI or a predominantly white institution. I will also be giving some advice or tips for incoming minority students who will be also attending a PWI in the fall. If you're interested, keep watching. Please subscribe and like this video. So one of the first things I noticed when I went to my school was that there were very few black professors. I kind of had an idea that this was going to be something that was going to happen, but I just didn't realize it was going to be that bad. Like, there are very few black professors at PWIs, at least from my experience. I've only had one black teacher, and it was my dance teacher. And on a level, it kind of affects me a little bit because I know that when you have a black teacher, you're going to feel more connected with them because they kind of understand what you've been through or your background and everything. Now, I've never had any bad experiences with any of my white professors. However, I do wish there was more black involvement in professors because, like I said, it's just easier to connect with them on a different level. It's just hard for a white professor to connect with a minority student culturally wise. Obviously, they can't speak on something they haven't experienced for themselves. So that's something I wish I would have known more about before I went to a PWI, is that there's not much diversity in the staff or professors. So another thing that I noticed at my PWI is that there's not much representation of black individuals or minority individuals on like teams or organizations. We have a BSA at my school, which is Black Student Association. Organizations like that obviously are going to have a good population of black students. However, I did try to get into an organization my first year. I'm not really going to call the organization out because I'm just not going to do that, but I was really interested in this organization, and we had to have interviews, we had to go to events and stuff, and I just was really wanting to be on this club. I want to call it a club because that's kind of what it was, but you had to go through all these interviews and events, which is just what was part of their, I guess, process. I did everything I was supposed to do. I presented myself well. I was very professional, went to all the interviews, spoke with all the people. However, I did not make it on this organization, which really upset me because I thought I was very qualified for it. But I kind of just, let it go. I forgot about it. I went to check back on the Instagram page a few days later to notice that the only people that made it were just a group of white females. And that did not really sit well with me because it's like I knew that I was qualified for this organization, but the only people that made it were white females, and that just shows that there's not good representation or diversity in organizations at PWIs, at least from my experience, other than black student associations and stuff like that. Also, to go along with that, we have a cheer team, we have a dance team. There's not much representation of diversity on those teams at all either. I don't want to speak too much on that because I don't know like the mechanics and everything of dance and cheer and other teams. I will say I'll be a junior in the fall. In my first 2 years being at my school, I've only seen one black cheerleader and one black dance member. So it's kind of like, what's going on? Why is there not more representation of minorities or black individuals on these teams? Another thing is, which y'all probably already know, is that when you're just an average day on campus, you're walking around the school, you don't really see many people that will look like you. Honestly, in my classes, I've pretty much been the only black female. I've been in a few classes where there's other females that are black, at least 2 at the most. If there's other black students, most of the time they're athletes. So you will have to get used to being like one of the only individuals who is a minority in your class. To add on to that, I wanted to give a tip that you want to put your best foot forward. Obviously, if you're the only minority in your class, you're going to be noticed more. Don't be showing up late to class. Don't do anything that you shouldn't be doing. Because let's just say you come in late to class, opposed to maybe a white individual coming late to class. You're probably going to be noticed more because of the fact that you're the only black person in there. So just make sure you're on your A game, getting to class early, taking notes, doing everything you're supposed to be doing, because that's the only downfall about being the only minority in your class is that you're going to be more noticed out of everyone. There's something I wish I would have done differently my first year. I wish I would have joined at least more black clubs, because the only reason I didn't was because I wanted to meet black individuals or minorities just the other way that I had met my other friends. I had this idea that I didn't need to join clubs to meet people because it was my first year in college. Obviously, I didn't know much about college. So that's another advice I want to give y'all, is that you really need to join clubs and organizations if you want to get involved in the black community, or be with other minorities, if that's something you want to do. I know some people don't really have a problem with it, but that's something I love to do. I love to be involved with the black community and people that are similar and look like me. I would advise y'all to do is just get involved with the community there and the clubs at your school. I also wanted to say that I feel like sometimes PWIs can lack, or at least mine, I'm speaking on my experiences, they can lack inclusion of diversity in their activities they have. For example, for the time I've been at my school, our homecoming does not seem very inclusive to other populations of people. In terms of the music and the events they have, I don't feel like it really caters to all the populations they have at the school. And that can happen, if you're going to a school with majority white people, not always will you have diversity or events that will cater towards the smaller populations there. It's kind of a little bit upsetting, because just because you have a small population of black students, minority students, doesn't mean you shouldn't have things there that will benefit them. My school has a very low percentage of minorities, which is less than 4%. It's around like 3%, I believe. And sometimes I just feel like PWIs can look at that as just a number, and it's such a small number that they don't feel like they need to incorporate that population of people in everything, which is a wrong mindset to have, because just because you have such a small population of minorities doesn't mean you shouldn't have things that will benefit them as well. I just think that my school, and I can't really speak on other schools because I haven't been to them, but I do think that they can do more than what they're doing to make minorities and black students feel inclusive or feel like they're included in the campus life. Because I have felt that way on some levels. I have felt like you don't feel like you're included in everything. You just feel like you're a number there, or you just feel like you're there just to satisfy that they have black students on campus. You are just like a number, like, okay, we have a black student here, or we have black students that go here, so we're good. It shouldn't be that way. So that's just something I wanted to put out there, is that, especially at my school, you won't see much representation of black students in anything other than like football team, basketball team, or black students association. I know my personality, I know how I am. I'm a very motivated person, very determined person, studious. The fact that I wasn't let on some of these organizations, or wasn't accepted into some of the organizations, just made me feel like they didn't want me on there because of how I looked or what I represented. I've never had anything bad happen to me, like I mentioned. None of my professors have been very racist or anything towards me. That's my experience personally. I can't speak on anyone else's, because I'm pretty sure people at my school or other schools have experienced that, personally. But I do feel like PWIs in general, or at least mine, could do better at making minorities feel more included on the or in the campus. So if you're going to be attending a PWI in the fall, you're just going to have to get used to being the only person of color in many of your classes. Other than that, you'll probably have pretty much good experience in terms of going to sporting events, hanging out with friends. All that should be good. And just one of the things I would say is just to try to get more involved in the diversity on campus by joining clubs, organizations, anything you can join that has black or minority students, you should. Just wanted to make this video in terms of just giving some advice and tips for y'all, because I know it can be kind of, shocking to first walk on a PWI campus and only seeing white people and not seeing many people that look like you. Also, I almost forgot to mention that I have on this shirt, it says Black woman, the strongest being on earth. And I got this from powerandblack.com. I'll link them below. I have this in black and gray, but I believe they have a white and yellow too. But other than that, that was all I wanted to say for this video. Didn't want it to be too long. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like this video, and I'll see y'all in my next video.